What's your age?
I'm 24. 24.
What's the most challenging thing about dating 24-year-old men?
They don't have any money. They don't. No aspirations, no money, and no will to provide.
That's racist!
No money, no aspirations, and no will to provide. You sure you're just not describing yourself? Because you're acting like you're entitled to a man's resources simply because you exist. You clearly have no desire to be independent, and you don't strike me as the kind of woman who's willing to provide anything that doesn't serve yourself first. This is why men can't be bothered to waste their time with women like you, because they could be spending their time and money on more important things, like man's never-ending pursuit to find the perfect meatball sandwich.
So you're not attracted to men without money?
It's really hard to date without money because I like to go out and do things.
Yeah, I agree. Nails, hair, drinks, stuff like that.
So it's a man's job to pay for your nails and your hair?
Yes, just like it's my job to look like this.
That's right.
No, sir, I don't like it.
Hold the phone. It's your job to look like that? Whoever your manager is, they deserve to be fired for not providing ample supervision. You are a 4 on your best day possible, and you're thinking that's enough to sustain a lifelong commitment with a man? With intellect like that, it wouldn't surprise me if you found a way to screw up making a peanut butter sandwich. You know, I'm not even gonna bother asking you about a meatball sandwich because I don't even know what kind of disaster you'd be able to conjure with something like that.
But I thought women did makeup in their hair and their nails for themselves, not for men.
Yes, but as your woman, you want your woman to look beautiful.
If your woman looks like a bum, that's on you.
That doesn't make sense.
How much would I be spending?
A cool $500 a week. Easy.
Nails and toes, 200, and then hair, salon, makeup, maintenance, all that good stuff, highlight, 200.
So the man pays for all your hair and your makeup and stuff. What does he get in return?
Me.
No.
It's a known fact, a man will constantly find himself willing to go through hell and back if he finds something that's worth having. But this woman, she doesn't fit the bill. Not even close. $2,000 a month for makeovers, and in exchange, she's acting like she's a pretty decent meatball sandwich. Sorry, honey, I am totally willing to suffer through 3 hours one way on some of the worst public transit imaginable for a decent meatball sandwich, and I'm not even willing to cross the street to tell you to shut up to your face. You're just not worth the effort.
As a childless woman in my early 40s, I'm constantly thinking about my retirement and what that looks like. And it's always the same, no matter what. And it has been since my 30s, which is to live in a hut or a well-framed cabin in the woods with a community of women.
You know, something about that is just downright unsettling.
So your retirement is to give up your earthly possessions and live in a commune with a bunch of other middle-aged women? Lady, you look like you spent your entire college tuition on forehead tattoos, and you don't strike me as the construction type. You're gonna live in the middle of nowhere with a bunch of middle-aged crusty Wiccans. Who's building this cabin? Where's your water source? And how do you plan on maintaining an outhouse when your nails clearly indicate that you are unable to wipe properly? With these 3 questions, I have completely destroyed your retirement. But there's no need to thank me. I'm merely doing the work of the intergalactic space god Globichard.
And we all just like grow our own food, make our own preserves, read books, fix everything ourselves, have coffee together in the morning, drink wine at night, have a bunch of cats and dogs and chickens and goats, maybe some horses, pigs, whatever.
That is the worst idea I've ever heard in my life, Tom.
Yes, it's horrible. This idea.
You know, I was once stuck at an intergalactic space rest stop for 12 hours, and I feel like this gives me more knowledge on the subject of off-grid living than she has. Woman, living off-grid involves back-breaking labor, chopping wood, sharpening tools, and maintaining the structure of your home, just to name a few things. You're going to be working from sunup to sunset and then some. And to make things worse, you're going to have to do all of this labor alongside a gaggle of out-of-shape, middle-aged women. The stench alone will be enough to make you want to end your retirement early.
And then we do really weird shit at night that makes everyone scared to come up to our property and just leaves us alone forever until we all just die in our beds, happy. That sounds like a pretty good retirement.
Great plan.
Thank you.
He likes your plan, Chief.
Trust me, woman, I don't think you're gonna have too much of a problem with people wandering onto your property. Like I've said, the stink from your unwashed scum bucket of tainted dreams is going to be more than enough to keep most men away. And the fact of the matter is that if you do decide to go this route for your retirement, I'll give you a day and a half before you're speeding back to civilization in hopes that Chad will let you crash on his couch for a few days. So by all means, make your dreams a reality and leave us alone. Society thanks you in advance.
So I've put in my 10,000 hours and I'm a bit of an expert on dating, and I have 3 questions that I wish I would have asked dates earlier to suss out covert creeps and just sense subtle red flags. First one's easy for a first date. Tell me about your best friend. What do you love about them? If they can't keep a long-lasting friendship or make a good friend out of somebody that they love, that's a problem.
What?
No, that's a stupid question. It's strangely specific and frankly none of your damn business, especially on a first date. And if I ever decided to lower my standards to meet with you for a cup of coffee, I'm gonna wonder why you're asking about my best friend and why you're not just asking them out on a date. I mean, don't get me wrong, Captain Thunderbolt loves a good date just as much as the next guy, but let's face it, my dog is way out of your league.
Question number 2, good for like a second date. Say you pay for coffees and you tip well like you normally would, and you turn to them and you say, hey, what's your tipping philosophy? If they get like immediately defensive or they're like, I think it's crazy how these they're a bad tipper, period. And you shouldn't go out with them.
Why don't you just cut out the middleman and ask your date what they do with their money? Because that's really what you want to know. Why play these stupid little games and just cut to the chase? If you honestly think throwing a dollar bill and some loose change into a cup somehow lands you in a magical land of moral superiority, you got another thing coming. Tipping is a system that allows a business owner legal justification to pay their employees less than minimum wage, and they thrust the responsibility to make up the difference on your shoulders. And to add insult to injury, people think they have the right to judge you if you don't give some arbitrary percentage to a person who gives you a cup of coffee that you already paid for. So in short, tipping is immoral and should be abolished. That and your question is dumb.
The third one is spicy and surreal. Straight up ask them, maybe third date, what's the largest age gap that you've ever had while dating? They're gonna tell you about a girl that they dated. I want to correct myself and say woman, but it's probably girl. Either way, they're not used to not bragging about that, and so they might tell on themselves. Bonus tip, and something I learned from TikTok, don't volunteer information back after they've answered your question. You might be surprised how little they try to actually get to know you. And I say this as a fascinating, interesting woman who has traveled a lot, read a lot, and has a lot going on in here, that most of my dates will never have the privilege of accessing or knowing because they don't ask.
Hey.
Woman, just because you took an international flight to Europe doesn't make you interesting. If you were interesting, you wouldn't have had to come up with these pointless mind games to judge the men that you're dating before they even have a chance to take a sip of their lukewarm latte. You're laying there thinking you have men figured out, but in reality, if you did, you wouldn't be bragging about having 10,000 hours worth of dating under your belt. I would tell you to go out and get some more practice, but that's ultimately pointless. Nobody is willing to waste their time on somebody who has the personality of dryer lint. And that's gonna do it for today's video, gentlemen and gents. As always, if you find that my particular brand of comedy is bringing you to the brink of laughter, then why don't you scroll on down and click that like and subscribe button and ring the notification bell so we can give the good old-fashioned middle finger to the YouTube algorithm. Thank you so much for checking out the new video, and until next time, peace out, homies.